You're 20 years old, a fisherman in Carthage, 146 BC. The air smells of salt and drying nets. Then the horizon turns black. Not with storm clouds, but with sails. Rome has arrived. You don't die in the raid. You're too strong for that. A centurion looks at your shoulders and smiles. It's not a kind smile. It's the look a mechanic gives a spare part. You're shackled, thrown into a holding pen, and branded with a hot iron. The SPQR mark on your skin isn't a badge of honor. It's a serial number. You're marched down a wooden ramp into the belly of a great trireme. The light disappears. The heat hits you like a physical wall. It's 100 degrees down here, and the air is thick enough to chew. Welcome to your new home. It's 150 feet long, 20 feet wide, and it's going to be your coffin. You're pushed onto a wooden bench. It's barely a foot wide. You look down and see the iron ring bolted to the floor. Click. Your ankle is now part of the ship. You look to your left, a Gallic warrior whose spirit is already broken. To your right, a thief who's crying for his mother. There are 3 levels of rowers. You're on the bottom. Why does that matter? Because physics is a cruel mistress. There's no plumbing on a Roman galley. When the man on the top level, the Thranite, gets seasick or can't hold his bladder, it all trickles down. On you. For 12 hours a day, you are bathed in the waste of 170 men. Then the sound starts. Thump. Thump. The hortator hits his wooden block. You grab the oar. It's 14 feet of solid oak. The first pull tears the skin off your palms. The second pull opens the blisters. By the 100th pull, your hands are just raw meat fused to the wood. "Keep rhythm!" the overseer screams, his leather whip cracking across the back of the man next to you. If you slip, your oar catches the water wrong, the handle snaps back, and it shatters your ribcage. There is no doctor. You just row until the bone pokes through your skin. Nutrition? Forget it. You get a handful of hard beans and a cup of vinegar water once a day. You eat while you row. You sleep while you sit. Your muscles begin to atrophy in strange ways. Your back becomes a permanent curve. Your legs thin out like sticks, but your arms grow into monstrous, knotted ropes of scar tissue. The smell. Let's talk about it. It's a cocktail of rotting bilge water, ancient vomit, and gangrene. It's so potent that historians say Roman galleys could be smelled 3 miles downwind before they were ever seen. You stop smelling it after a month. That's when you know you've stopped being a human and started being a machine. Night brings no peace. The ship moans as it hits the waves. The chains rattle. You listen to the sounds of men dying in the dark. Every morning, the guards walk the aisles. If you don't wake up to the crack of the whip, they unchain your corpse and toss it through the oar hole like a bag of trash. No prayer, just a splash. Act 4. The Battle of Actium. You've survived 2 years. You're a veteran now. Then the drum speeds up. Thump, 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 thump. This is attack speed. Above you, you hear the screams of 200 Marines and the thud of giant catapult stones hitting the deck. This is the ultimate nightmare. You are below the waterline. You are blind. You hear a sound like 1,000 windows breaking. That's the enemy ship's bronze ram splintering your hull. The wood shards fly like shrapnel, impaling the rowers in front of you. The ship starts to tilt. Water, cold and black, rushes into the rowing deck. This is the moment you feared. The soldiers upstairs have Corvus bridges to escape, but the guard with your key? He's already jumped overboard. You pull at your chain, you scream. The water rises to your chest, then your chin. You die in the dark, still chained to the bench that stole your life. Act 5. The Legacy of Shame. Rome didn't build its empire on the backs of geniuses. It built it on the broken backs of men like you. Men whose names were never recorded. Thousands of human engines lie at the bottom of the Mediterranean, still wearing their chains 2,000 years later. You weren't a sailor. You weren't a soldier. You were fuel. And in the eyes of the emperor, fuel is meant to be burned. So, you survived the Carthaginian wars only to become a permanent part of the seabed. Think your 9-to-5 job is bad? At least you can walk away from your desk. In the Roman galley, the only way out was to sink. You outlasted the whip, but the ocean always wins. Click the card now to see what your life would have been like as a medieval torturer, where the pain was your job, not just your life.